and exercise all contribute to a healthy living lifestyle, all of which are made possible with the introduction of the Mid-Hudson Valley Rail Trail system. The Walkway over the Hudson has proven again to be the great connector it was called so many years ago. History repeats itself. We are connecting two rail trails, the Dutchess Rail Trail and the Hudson Valley Rail Trail in the Mid-Hudson Valley. Still having that moniker, the Great Connector, the Walkway over the Hudson State Historic Park connects people, places, and now the rail trail system across the mighty Hudson River. It's my pleasure representing state parks to accept this award on this day. Thank you, enjoy, and be safe. I'd like to introduce Elizabeth Walsey Hart and Tom Sexton.
Thanks, Eric. A great park manager. Hi, I'm Elizabeth Waldstein Hart, Executive Director of the Walkway organization, and most of you know what we did and why we're here. Because this has been such a great public-private partnership, I really want to just start out by recognizing a couple of the state and county officials, and then more people will get introduced later. But thank you so much for coming. So many of you, including Frank Skartatos and Sue and Mike Hine and Mark, were instrumental in pulling this together. So from the Senate, from New York State Senate, Senator Sue Serino. Welcome, Sue. From the New York State Assembly, our Assemblyman, Frank Skartatos. From the great county of Ulster, the County Executive, Mike Hine. And from Dutchess County, County Executive Mark Molinaro. The Supervisor from the town of Lloyd, Paul Hansett. Supervisor, where's Bob? From Fishkill. Supervisor from the great town of Fishkill, Bob Lacola. Former executive from Dutchess County, William Steinhaus. Is there anybody? And Bill O'Neill, representing the city of Poughkeepsie. Is there someone else? Bill? Yeah. All right, any other state or county officials here that I have neglected to recognize? All right, thank you for coming, and I'll turn it over to Eric.
At this point, I'd like to introduce Tom Sexton.
Thanks again, Eric and Elizabeth. Today is a special day, and I've been fortunate to be part of the first Rails to Trails Conservancy's Rail Trail Hall of Fame induction, and now the 30th. It's great. The reason we recognize trails as a Hall of Fame trail is to showcase the best of what's possible. We reward outstanding work to elevate the art of rail trail development. And I've been lucky over the 26 years that I've been working for the Rails to Trails Conservancy to witness the art of rail trail development right here in the Hudson Valley. More than 2 decades ago, I first visited the then raw and abandoned Hudson Valley Rail Trail. And 10 years ago, I think it was Fred Schaefer had me out on to about this point before construction began. And I was kidding a colleague just the other day that I was coming up here. He's since retired, and that was the first time I ever knew that gentleman was afraid of heights, and he never made it out to the midpoint. I still kid him about that. But on both of these trips, I was inspired about the potential that this infrastructure represented, the whole network here. And as these projects developed, Rails to Trails Conservancy watched as the trail network realized its potential as an economic driver, as a tourist magnet, and also as a health cornerstone in your community. Yesterday, my colleague Brandy Horton and I got here a little early and pedaled all the trail, and we were impressed and saw just how important this whole network is to the community. The trails were crowded with people of all ages, abilities, and interests. Rail trails preclude no one. everyone can use a rail trail, which is great. And it was clear how these trails are valued by these communities. Now, we chose the Hudson Valley Trail Network, which is made up of the Hudson Valley Rail Trail, the Walkway over the Hudson, and the Dutchess Rail Trail for several reasons. First and easy is the scenic value, right? Wow. You get to see this a lot every day. Some of you, I only see it once in a blue moon, so it's great to be up here again. But also the high quality of trail design and the amenities and extras that were put into this 18 miles. Also the preservation of this unique and invaluable infrastructure. As well, the regional network that these three trails form, and the potential for even more as it maybe winds its way westward in a few years. And one that's especially near and dear to my heart is maintenance and operation. And we saw the high level of maintenance operation when we pedaled the trails yesterday. Lastly, and this goes for so many rail trails, probably most of them, the network of volunteers that work hard to open these trails in the first place and worked every day to make sure that they have that personal touch that's so important. We were greeted yesterday and by a few ambassadors, and there's two volunteers that I want to note today who were really at the forefront of this network, and that's Ray and Claire Costatino. Again, congratulations to everyone. And now we're going to hear from Mike Hine, the Ulster County Executive. Mike.
First off, welcome to everyone. This is an exciting event. Mark and I were talking about this, and one of the areas that we were so excited about is this really is an example. I know it doesn't apply to anybody here, but you may not have known this, but nationally, both our parties don't always agree. This is a wonderful example of people from all sides of the aisle, both sides of the river, all coming together to be able to focus on doing something extraordinary for the people. And that is an incredible debt we owe to visionaries on both sides of the aisle, people who have embraced this from the very beginning, who understand the importance. So being in the hall here is amazing, an extraordinary accomplishment from our community. As a former baseball player, I was hoping it might be in Cooperstown, but that's not going to happen at 51 years old. The real truth of the matter is it's exciting. This is really an energizing event for us. We never lose sight of this fact. Not only do people like Fred Schaefer and so many others who brought their vision to this, have brought us to this reality we are at right now, but we are seeing across the horizon. We're seeing what's possible and how exciting it can be. The idea that Dutchess County can expand, that Beacon can be opened up, this incredible event can happen throughout our entire Hudson Valley, that we can do something connecting the Ashokan Reservoir all the way to the Walkway over the Hudson, to Hopewell Junction, and to making the Hudson Valley one of the largest interconnected rail trail systems in the entire Northeast, and nothing like it within such easy access to the 22 million people and the 100 million visitors to the metro New York area. It's extraordinary for our economy from a tourism perspective. It's an extraordinary asset for the people in our community that they can be able to utilize. And I can't say thank you enough for being able to be recognized as a Rail Trail Hall of Fame. I will tell you this, hopefully when we are complete, we will be the #1 in your Hall of Fame for all time. So thank you very much.
And now let me introduce Paul Hansen, who's the supervisor for the town of Lloyd.
I don't know how it always seems to work out that I get to follow our county executive, but that's just the way the lineup always seems to go. And Mike always hits the nail right on the head with his comments. Myself, on behalf of the town of Lloyd, it's an honor to be chosen as an elected official. We all know about vote, 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 and we'd like to thank everyone who came out and voted to make sure that this was a possibility. For me, I always try to recognize the volunteers that seem to make this all possible, because without the volunteers and the people donating the money to make this happen, we probably wouldn't ever be here today. And I had the opportunity to bring my grandson Lorenzo out with me for a little stroll, and this is something that'll be his future. But I would, on behalf of the town of Lloyd, Ray and Claire, everything that you've done for our community, for our walkway, they're going off into retirement world, and we wish you all the best. To Peter, congratulations on becoming the new president of the Hudson Valley Rail Trail. And if there are any Rail Trail Association members here, if you could just raise your hands. On behalf of our community, we just want to say thank you for everything that you do. God bless you all. Have a great day and enjoy it.
Let's do Paul, would you stay up, and Mike, come on up, and Claire and Ray, and we'll do a quick photo. Your side first.
At some point, we got to bring Mark up, you know.
Oh, here, right here. I'll be on the far.
Here we go.
Right here.
Yeah.
Good enough?
Thank you very much.
Now I'd like to introduce Mark Molinaro, who's the county executive for Dutchess County.
Thank you very much. I first want to, on behalf of Dutchess County, extend our appreciation to the Conservancy for recognizing really what has been a vision of this shared community for generations, all coming together, connected by this great walkway over the Hudson. I too thought that someday I might enter a Hall of Fame. I was under no illusion it would be Cooperstown, however, or delusion in my case. But this is a phenomenal moment, really, for the communities. And trails are about communities, and they're about creating connections. And I know in Dutchess County, first a vision of our community under the leadership and shepherding of my predecessor, County Executive Bill Steinhaus, who is here with us. He deserves acknowledgement and recognition for the work, for his vision to bring the Dutchess Rail Trail, now the William R. Steinhaus Dutchess Rail Trail, to fruition. And I know that he would be the first to join me in extending our appreciation, not necessarily to those of us who hold the elected offices, but rather to the volunteers and to the taxpayers, the residents in both communities who have embraced these expenditures, these investments, as a real improvement and enhancement to our quality of life. And we know that our rail trails are an integral and critical piece of what is our quality of life. And for a generation, the Dutchess Rail Trail has been bringing families and visitors and children and seniors together as a connection. And then finally being able to connect the Dutchess Rail Trail to the Hudson Valley Rail Trail to the Walkway over the Hudson, creating this network that we appreciate the Conservancy and your voters for acknowledging as worthy of entering a Hall of Fame. But I would argue that the people who live in this community and who have invested in these assets knew how great they were some time ago. And this is just sort of the last seal of approval for all of us. I also want to extend our appreciation to those people who are out on the trail every day, both trails and the walkway, keeping them clean and safe and maintaining them. In our case, the Dutchess County Department of Public Works, our Parks Division, our engineers, folks out every day who really take pride because they see their neighbors and their friends out on the rail trail. They know how valuable and important it is. And then again, as I said, to the taxpayers, the residents who voted to get this and secure this honor, but also every day when we have to make tough choices on how to spend tax dollars, embrace this investment as really critical to our community and our overall quality of life. So to all of you, on behalf of the nearly 300,000 people who call Dutchess County home, I extend our thanks to the Conservancy, to all those who were involved in obviously securing this designation, and to my friends across the river. Mike acknowledged the party nature of things. But the truth of the matter is, those of us in local government, we're the laboratories of experiment. We're the ones every day who put aside differences just to focus on getting the job done. And for Dutchess County and Ulster County and the communities that populate the rail trails in this walkway, getting it done has been embracing this as an asset, embracing this as an enhancement to our quality of life, and making this network of rail trails worthy of Hall of Fame distinction. Thanks very much. We want to take a picture too.
Mark, hold on.
And then Bill, come on up, Bill, and also Noel and Steve Olson, Park Director. Is Noel here? No. Okay. Yeah. Yep.
Nice and close. There you go.
You don't know how important that is because my first copy flew over. Now, I'd like to introduce Elizabeth Waldstein-Hart, who's the Executive Director of the Walkway.
Just had to figure out who else needs to be thanked. So, welcome everybody. I have a quick story, and then I want to recognize a few more people. Once the bulk of the Dutchess Rail Trail was completed, and the Hudson Valley Rail Trail was well on its way with the 3.5 miles, there was this 0.8 of a mile that you remember. And what did we call that? The gap. So we had a gap in this potential 18.5 miles. And we had raised, as an organization, $600,000 to purchase that gap from CSX Corporation. We had, with the help of the Dyson Foundation, done our comps, tried to get this piece of real estate to connect it. The CSX Corporation said no, that wasn't enough. So they asked us for a lot more than that. And it stalled it for about a year. And we waited and we went back because we thought that was a fair price for it. I learned a couple things. I learned that if you're a big corporation, you have hundreds of thousands of abandoned rail trails around the country. There's only some that you might get paid for. And this was one of them because it was the gap. It was the piece that was going to do it. So we really have to recognize the Dyson Foundation, who stepped up with the other $400,000 and contributed that with our $600,000. We paid $1.1 million for that gap. CSX donated $100,000 of it back to us. So it was $1 million for that 0.8 of a mile that is allowing us to be here today. So I'd like to thank the folks that granted us the $600,000 and the Dyson Foundation for that. Again, it was public, it was private, it was taxpayers that said, yes, this is worth it. It was our volunteers that had worked since 1974 and then formed again in the 1990s to really bring this to fruition. Not only Fred Schaefer, but a lot of other people that stuck with this for 20 years. And I know the rail trail folks know that it takes decades to bring these trails together. It's not something that happens overnight. And now we are the great connector, as everybody has already said. The Hudson Valley Rail Trail, the Dutchess County Rail Trail, and the future that we keep talking about is Catskills to Connecticut. Once we connect the Catskill Mountains all the way to Connecticut, we are going to have a world-class trail that will attract people, that will attract tourists, and we know from statistics that bikers and hikers and those folks come, they stay, and they appreciate it. So just a couple other people I want to thank, and one is the staff of the Walkway, and I think Suzanne O'Neill is the only one that's here with us today because they're back recapping from Starry Starry Night, our big event on Friday. I'd like to give a round of applause to Suzanne O'Neill. And now I want a great big shout from every Walkway ambassador who's here. Let's hear it. Woo! This is our 100-strong volunteers that make all of these things happen, all the walks, all the runs, all the bikes. They're out here managing those events on their own time, all volunteers. And all these big events, the park staff does a great job, but there are not many of them when you're talking about thousands of people that you have to manage. So thank you for those folks. And also Sue Serino has a proclamation. Sue, do you want to just give that to us?
Just want to say thank you, Elizabeth, for all you do, and everyone. Mark and Mike, you know, you guys are the true definition of taking the R and the D out of the room, and this whole collaboration was all about that. And I also want to give a shout out to the Boy Scouts. Thanks for being here today.
All right, so on behalf of the Walkway Over the Hudson organization, our board of directors, Kathy Smith is here representing our board of directors. Our 100-strong ambassadors, our staff of 6, and Kathleen and Steve, our consultants who are here helping today. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate the work that you do day in, day out, every year and every day. So thank you very much.
Is Fred here?
Yes.
Yep. Hey, Fred, let's take a photo. Three of us. We'll have you in the middle, just the 3. Do you want somebody else? Okay. We'll sandwich the ladies.
Anything for you, Fred.
I would not give that man a kiss.
Yeah.
Nice and tight. Nice and tight. There we go.
Look at her. Oh,
It's okay, Fred. Anything.
You got it? Yeah. All right.
Good? Okay, great. Hey.
All right. Pete, are you saying anything? No? So which is the Boy Scout troop?
Troop 70, Troop 193.
Okay, let's have a round of applause for Troop 70 and Troop 190 from Lloyd. 193, thank you very much for leading us out for the color guard. So the only thing that I want to close with is the fact that is just to what everybody has said. This is a great connector. It's connecting us in many ways that we never anticipated. Not only just getting to know a lot of people, but people of different abilities, people from different neighborhoods. When I first took the job early on and someone said, who are these people? I didn't know these people. These are my neighbors. Who are they? So we wanted to just, pay tribute to the fact that it is a great connector. Is there anybody else that wants to say anything before we close? Frank, anything? Claire, Ray, any final comments?
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
Yeah. We also have to talk about going from Hopewell Junction
Well,
to Brewster,
yes.
New York City.
Yeah.
Because so let's not forget about that. I think.
Okay, so Fred doesn't want us to forget about the north-south nexus. So someday we've got Albany to New York City, and we got Connecticut to Catskills. Right in the middle of it is the Walkway over the Hudson. So thanks everybody for coming today. Thank you to the National Rails to Trails Conservancy for this great recognition. We appreciate it.